Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. Let's go through the 9.8 comic book market today. I got a full list of some completed sales in the 9.8 and a few great deals on the list, I think. Yeah, and certainly we'll get into all the market details as we move through the books. But first one up, it's a Saga #1. This one is from 2012. This one's got a big cult of following. One of those indie books, an Image comic book, this one, that really sticks out as still being very well collected. It's critically acclaimed and all that. Still one I haven't got around to reading, so I'm not going to comment on a critically acclaimed comic. This one had sold on Comic Link, though, in a 9.8 for $606. So you go back kind of 3 years ago on this one. It was around, a little bit under 400, I would say. And then a year and a half ago, the comic book market was pretty hot with the stimulus checks hitting and all that. This one was kind of getting up there to almost $1,000, I remember. I think it was like $800 or $900, kind of surprised me at that time. So this one may be cooling down in the medium term, but if you're a Saga fan, I think $600 is, pretty much the fair value on this one. Maybe it's just looking great in a new case and you're the biggest Saga fan. I think you pay even a little bit over $600 is worth it on this one. Yeah, one of those indie comics that really sticks out as having a big cult of following still. And I think, this one makes sense, certainly. If you're a Saga fan, right around $600. All the prices are in US dollars too, that we'll talk about. Next one, I saw a really nice Savage SheHulk #1 in a newsstand edition, 9.8 cell. White pages for $1,149. This the kind of first half of the list is on Comic Link, and then the second half is eBay completed sales. This one was from Comic Link. Great looking newsstand, Savage SheHulk. These are cooling down, absolutely. $1,149 in the build up to the SheHulk series and this and that, and the hotter comic book market, admittedly too. About a year and a half ago. This one was like, I'm sure a few went for around $2,000 in the newsstand. So this one's cooling down, but you know what? It might be a bit of a lull before things maybe pick up again with the SheHulk show coming out. Hopefully it's really cool. So I actually think $1,149 is kind of a price target to aim for if you want a Savage SheHulk right now. A great looking newsstand for, $1,150 is a pretty good deal, I think. Okay, the next one. NYX #3, first appearance of X23. Big modern key issue. First appearance of Laura Kinney, the clone of Logan. And this one had sold for pretty much kind of, I would say, a bang-on solid fair value. $1,756. I think maybe in a new case, these are maybe getting up to around $2,000, but, you're patient and you kind of want a decent deal on this one. Around $1,700 is pretty much a price target to aim for. A big modern key issue. And that's a pretty solid price for an NYX #3. A classic key, the next one that had sold, I saw. An Iron Man 128 in a 9.8. The Demon in a Bottle storyline. Pretty great cover on this one, too. Went in this Comic Link group of auctions for $2,000. Yeah, pretty surprised that it got up there to the $2,000 mark. I think this wasn't a direct edition. Pretty nicely centered, though. Nice colors. Looking pretty great in the direct edition. I think you could probably aim a little bit closer to kind of $1,700. This one, with the great centering and everything, maybe a bit of a bidding war broke out. But it is absolutely a classic key issue. If you're the biggest Iron Man fan, that's one to consider. And one going for $2,000, probably aim a little closer to a little under $2,000, let's call it. I think would be a pretty great deal on that one. Next one was pretty cool to see sell in an auction. It's a Jurassic Park #1, but the Amberchrome variant edition for this one. So the more rare version, essentially, of Jurassic Park #1 in an auction, selling for $481. That's, I would say, a pretty fair price. I think under $500 for this one, being the more rare version of Jurassic Park #1 is a pretty great deal. I think Jurassic Park, a little bit of an underrated brand. It seems to have been around for a really long time, and I had recently purchased a Jurassic Park #1 in the 9.8 in the normal kind of first print edition. These are Topps comic books, so they're not going to be like super heavily printed or anything like that. I paid $240, was it, or $260 shipped, which is pretty much $240 for me. It's at least going to be $20 to ship these 9.8s to Canada. It's usually more. So $240, we'll call it, on my Jurassic Park #1 that I bought about a month ago. This Amberchrome going for $481. I think that's a decent deal if you wanted that one. And yeah, it's a pretty cool one if you're a big Jurassic Park fan. So next one, I've talked about this one on the last video. Justice League Dark, #1. In a 9.8, this one popped up on that Comic Link auction in an old case. Sold for $165. So I saw one sell in a new case on eBay for $219. And you always see this one kind of pop up for like $500. Like people are just trying to get a really hefty price on this one because it is pretty tough to find. There's just a little bit over 100 of them in a 9.8. But $165 I think is a great deal. Yeah, and there's, as I've said, some potential I think with Justice League Dark moving forward. And absolutely a price to aim for. $165 on a Justice League Dark #1 from 2011. On that one, the first solo Justice League Dark book. Here's one seems to be cooling down maybe a little bit, and I think probably one you want to grab on the cool down, especially if they're going to sell around this price consistently. Kanan, The Last Padawan, #6 in a 9.8. This is first full appearance of Sabine Wren and Ezra Bridger and the gang. Sold for $478. Yeah, so this one was kind of in that 600 range, 550 to 600. We had documented a few that had went for around that range. So kind of surprising to see it cool down, $478. Wren is cast, apparently. That's a pretty strong rumor for some up-and-coming Star Wars content. So this one might be worth it on a bit of a lull to think about if you're a Star Wars fan. I love the cover. Yeah, kind of the reflection in the bottom of the floor on the cover is really great too, I think. So yeah, they were 600 for probably about the last 4 months, ever since that rumor kind of heated everything up. And I'm pretty sure it is a confirmation that Wren is cast, so she's coming. So it was 600, now it's 475. You can get it around the 478 price. And you like this one, I think that's a price target to aim for. Next one's such a cool one. Yeah, I wish I bought this one. I got kind of a bit of a story of how I didn't buy this one. Marvel Premiere 47. This is when Scott Lang becomes Ant-Man. Great cover. Yeah, it's a Bob Layton cover. Love Bob Layton artwork of this era. And great, yeah, just a great book overall. So, it was about 3 years ago now, before COVID. But there was one that had popped up. It was on my comic shop, I'm pretty sure. I think it was like $5.25. I was like, I had it in my cart like a couple times for sure. Very well centered, nice, great looking one. Newsstand edition. I think they're all might be newsstand editions at this time. But yeah, so $525. This one's selling for $1,600 because I got the Avengers 181. That's the first appearance of Scott Lang. But this is when Scott Lang becomes the new Ant-Man. I think this is a cool one. This one sold for $1,600. If you want this one, maybe right around that $1,500 price range is a price to aim for it. And this one looked pretty well centered and nice colors as well. So maybe even a little bit over $1,500 if it's just looking awesome. Yeah, I really like a Marvel Premiere 47 in a 9.8. I wish I had that one. Next one's a really cool one. That's pretty great to just see one sell in like a fire sale auction. This one went on Comic Link. A Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars #8 Origin of the Symbiote costume, but in the newsstand edition. So this one has definitely in the newsstand edition is more wanted. Sold for $2,300. So I think the direct editions for this one go right around $800 or so. So this is looking kind of like 3 times the price or so for the newsstand edition. I can't really say I've saw a few like recent newsstand editions sell on this one. I know this one really heated up because the sort of original art for Secret Wars #8 ended up going for like a huge amount of money. I forget the exact amount. But ever since then, this book's been like a little bit heated up and kind of holding up the heat, I guess you could say, though, with the newsstand version going for $2,300. I think that's, a little over $2,000 is probably the going rate on that one. Pretty big symbiote key issue. Next one, it's Masters of the Universe #1 from 1982. This is the DC Comics one, so the first solo Masters of the Universe book. This one's cooled down quite a bit. Sold on that Comic Link auction for $400. And this is one, leading into that cartoon, I believe, that had come out on Netflix. This one really heated up along with the DC Comics Presents 47, I believe it is. That's the first overall appearance. This one was like $800 though. Now it's $400. Better time to buy if you're a He-Man and a Skeletor fan, Masters of the Universe fan. I think right around 400 for a great looking one is kind of the going rate. Maybe you get it like a little closer to 350 because this one is, you know, on the cool down, I would say. Okay, next one I do have. New Mutants 98 in a direct edition on these Comic Link auctions. Saw one sell for $1,750. And that is pretty much like the going rate at what they've been going for recently. Yeah, kind of one, you know, maybe if you get super lucky, 1,500. You know, maybe going up to 1,800 if it's just looking immaculate in a newsstand. But this is kind of, I've highlighted it in the last few months as a pretty awesome no-brainer 9.8 comic to buy right now. With Deadpool, this one has cooled down quite a bit. It was like 2,700 or so a year and a half ago with the hotter comic book market. Now it's 1,750. And you know what? The more I think a lot about these early 90s comic books, I got the direct edition. If you're really serious about, you know, 9.8 collecting and you got the budget, consider the newsstand editions in some of these early 90 key issues, because there's like over 3,000 of these in the 9.8. So maybe if your budget's a little higher, you go for the newsstand, which I think is like maybe a little under 3,000 if you get lucky, but I think it's a little bit over if they're, you know, just looking great in a newsstand edition, white pages on a New Mutants 98. But one selling for 1,750. Next one's a pretty heating up comic. It's a Nova #1 from 1976. First appearance of Nova. I think they were borderline confirmations that Nova's coming to the MCU. I'm not too sure about that, but this one selling for $2,508. And, you know, these were like a lick under kind of 2,000, and then those rumors hit, pretty strong rumors. I think a few of them sold right around the $3,000 level, and I made a video like, you know, you don't want to get in there and buy this one in the next like few weeks, and this was, you know, when that rumor came out. But now, instead of paying around $3,000, now they're $2,508. They're already starting to cool down. You save a little bit of money, you know, just a few months after that rumor. So, you know, a decent time to buy this one. Hopefully the Nova movies just come out and they're awesome. So this one might be one to kind of chase as it's rising in value. 2,508 one had sold for. Next one is DC Comics Presents 26 in a direct edition. This one was from an eBay auction, kind of a fire sale auction though. This one's an awesome one. First appearance of the new Teen Titans and like Cyborg, Starfire, and Raven, I believe it is. And I've highlighted this one as being a great DC key issue to go after. $1,580 one had sold for in an auction. Yeah, there were a few of these I kind of went around the $2,000 level, and I thought, you know, maybe in the newsstand you'd maybe get up to 2,000, but you probably just, even though this one's a great one, you might want to wait till it cools down. 1,580 though is way better than around 2,000, I think, and you know, a nice direct edition right around 1,500. This one's a cool one with a lot of great first appearances that have become quite popular in pop culture, with like the Titans show and the Teen Titans Go cartoon and all that. So I like this one around 1,500, even better on a little bit of a cool down for DC Comics Presents 26 in a 9.8. Next one, great to see this one sell in kind of a fire sale auction as well. Incredible Hulk 271, first comic book appearance of Rocket Raccoon. I have this one, yeah, in a 9.8. I probably should have brought it out, to be honest. But in a direct edition, I got a newsstand edition 9.8 of this one, yeah, but direct edition sold for $931. Yeah, that's a pretty great price. I think the directs have been kind of $1,000 to $1,100, so you wait for an auction, you get it $931. I think right around $900, especially if you're like a Guardians Rocket Raccoon fan. This is a great 9.8 to go after. Yeah, one kind of from the early 80s, not too many of them out there. Pulling back in price too. This one was like 1,500, 1,600 when the kind of stimulus checks hit and the comic book market was a lot hotter. But yeah, right around 900 for Incredible Hulk 271. One going for 931 is a price to aim for. Next one, Incredible Hulk 234. First appearance of Quasar, getting some Guardians of the Galaxy books. Here, these are kind of cool. If you're a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, both of these are kind of on the pullback. They're old 9.8s that are really cool to have in the super high grade. And this one had sold for $504. And yeah, I think it kind of was sort of, yeah, used to this one maybe going around 600. So I think 500 is a decent deal. Yeah, I think these are, when I said pretty good deals on this list, though, these two kind of stick out as just great Incredible Hulk 9.8s to grab, and yeah, with 271 under $1,000, that's pretty cool. And 234, first Quasar going for $504. Next one is one that is cooling down, and it's kind of one I want, to be honest. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 317. Yeah, this is one interesting on this one. I have a 9.6 of this one in a 9.8, or in the CGC, sorry. And when I first got into the graded comics, I sent 11 books to CGC, and I think it was 9 of them came back 9.8, and one that came back 9.6 was this, an Amazing Spider-Man 317. But in a 9.8 auction, saw one sell for $239. That's a great cooling down price. Like during the lead up to like Let There Be Carnage and all that, these were a lot hotter. This one, I remember them going right around 400, and that really surprised me. Venom Carnage books cooling down now, $239. Great buy on an Amazing Spider-Man 317. That's a price target to aim for. And yeah, one of the, even though 316 is probably cooler, 317 is just as cool, and it's probably cooler than a lot of other Venom keys that become collected after this. So I really like 317, especially for $239. Next one is a Batman 635. First, Jason Todd as Red Hood on this one, selling for $340.35. Yeah, this is one. I got a nice raw copy in this one, but still kind of want the 9.8. And cooling down, yeah, the hotter comic book market about a year and a half ago, they were right around $500 for a moment there for sure. I remember quite a few selling. A little bit on the cool down, and I think this is one you can kind of buy basically. I've made a couple videos in the last few months saying that yeah, Batman 635, like it was 500, now it's 350, and it's a cool one. So yeah, 340.35 one had sold for on a Batman 635 9.8. Next one's a cool one as well, kind of a under the radar one that might have some potential moving forward. Maybe it's a Star Wars Rogue One adaptation #1. So it's like first appearance of like Yin Erso and Cassian Andor, and yeah, it was a great movie. They kind of die at the end basically. So is there any potential for the characters? I'm not sure, unless they kind of do something before Rogue One. But I've always liked this one. It's a cool 9.8. Saw one sell for $149.99. That's a pretty great price. I think these get up to kind of 200 occasionally. I would say kind of 150 to 200 is the price range on this one. Maybe if you get super lucky, you get it a little under 150. But a cool Star Wars one to consider. That's a pretty affordable one, going for $149.99. Okay, last book. I do have this one, luckily. It's Batman, Vengeance of Bane, in a 9.8. So yeah, these had heated up, kind of leading into the Batman movie, admittedly. And if you've noticed in the sort of past 6 months, I haven't made too many Batman videos, and that's kind of by choice, because I feel like a lot of the Batman books, I don't want to kind of pump them when the movie's out, and I feel like you're probably going to be able to get a better deal on the back half of the movie. So we're after the movie now, and I saw Vengeance of Bane sell for $567. That's pretty solid. This is kind of the range they were in, about a year or two ago. This one has just kind of slowly but steadily rose up in value, but I would say in the past 3 months they were up to around $700. I think most of them had sold for. Admittedly, the Batman movie was kind of being hyped up and just came out. So we're on the other side of that movie. 567, way better than 700. This is one that you could just get in there right now, and at a $550 to a $600 price target, I think is it's just a buy at that point. Yeah, a Bane, a big Batman villain, and there's not too many like big Batman villains that are like all the old big iconic Batman villains you can't get in the top grade 9.8, but Bane is one of them with the first appearance you can get in a 9.8, so absolutely worth grabbing under 600, I think. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Solid list. I think there's a couple deals. I think we got the stock market going down right now, and I think maybe just a little bit of weakness on certain books. But other kind of solid books hanging in there, like a New Mutants 98 still going right around the fair value. NYX #3 right around that fair value. But yeah, kind of some deals in there. Incredible Hulk 271, 9.8, under 1,000. And the Venom books, Amazing Spider-Man 317, really cooling down, continuing to kind of cool down some of the secondary Venom keys for sure. All right, so we'll leave it at that though, team. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. If you're liking my content, please subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll keep you updated on future videos.